If you're someone who's struggling to make ends meet, especially living on a fixed income or below the poverty line, there's a powerful shift being proposed that could directly change your life. Economists are pushing a targeted plan, $2,000 monthly payments sent directly to low-income Americans. Not just one-time relief, but consistent monthly support. This isn't just speculation, it's a serious policy direction backed by data. The reason? These checks aren't just about survival, they're about rebuilding the economy the right way, by putting money into the hands of those who'll use it best. By watching until the end, you'll understand exactly how this kind of plan works, how likely it is to happen, and what it could mean for your household if the government decides to implement this smarter form of economic relief. This message is especially for Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck, relying on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, SNAP, or just stuck in low-wage jobs that don't keep up with rent, groceries, and medical bills. If that sounds like your reality, this is about how future economic relief could finally be structured to benefit you, not billionaires, not stockholders. You're not forgotten. You're the exact person economists believe can lift the economy through your spending, if you're simply given the means. Because your struggle isn't just personal, it's systemic. And finally, experts are talking about designing stimulus for people who need it most. You're going to learn today about a different kind of stimulus plan, one that doesn't throw the same check at every American regardless of wealth. One that looks at actual spending behavior, specifically the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC. This economic principle shows that low-income people are more likely to spend money right away, especially on essentials like food, housing, transportation, and medicine. The more you spend, the more that money moves through the economy. That's what creates jobs, boosts small businesses, and keeps communities stable. So instead of wasting money by giving checks to people who already have savings, a targeted monthly payment to low-income Americans would get far more economic bang for each federal buck. Before we go deeper, let's pause for just a second. If you care about policies that finally put the working class and poor families first, stay engaged. Subscribe, follow, and make your voice count. Because the more awareness we build around effective solutions, the more pressure there is on lawmakers to act. This isn't about politics. It's about economic survival and long-term justice. Here's how this targeted $2,000 monthly payment idea would work. Instead of repeating the mistakes of 2020 and 2021, where stimulus checks went to nearly everyone, including high earners, this new model would narrow the focus. It would target Americans under a certain income threshold, think under $40,000 a year. Those are the households who are proven to spend stimulus fast, not save or invest it. In fact, studies show that low-income recipients spent over 75% of their previous stimulus checks within a month on rent, food, and bills. Compare that to upper-income households, who often put their checks into savings or use them to pay down debts. That might be good for their personal finances, but it doesn't help the economy recover quickly. The Federal Reserve and the National Bureau of Economic Research have both published detailed reports showing how stimulus spending varied dramatically by income. And the results are clear. Stimulus aimed at low-income earners delivers bigger returns. It's not just more compassionate, it's more efficient. So, economists are saying, why not design the next wave of aid based on this data? Why not deliver monthly checks to the people with the highest MPC, the highest spending power per dollar received? Now think about the numbers. During the pandemic, the U.S. spent more than $800 billion on direct stimulus checks across 3 rounds. But not all of that money helped drive economic recovery. Some of it sat in savings accounts. Some of it went to people with stable jobs who didn't need help. If you instead took just $100 billion, less than 1/8 of that amount, and directed it solely to 50 million low-income Americans in the form of $2,000 monthly checks, you'd get a far bigger boost to demand. That means stronger small businesses, fewer evictions, and more food on tables. All without overheating the economy like the last time. This isn't just theory, it has real-world implications. Imagine a senior on a $940 Social Security check each month. With rent, utilities, and medicine, there's nothing left. A $2,000 supplement wouldn't be a luxury. It would be survival. That's a heating bill paid. That's a full grocery cart. That's the difference between choosing food or insulin. Now imagine that replicated across 50 million households. It's a rescue plan that finally knows who needs rescuing. Some people argue that giving money to low-income Americans creates dependency, but the numbers don't back that up. When people's basic needs are met, they don't stop working, they gain stability. Parents can afford childcare and go to jobs. Seniors can stop skipping medications. People with disabilities can afford better care. It's not enabling laziness, it's enabling dignity. Let's clear up another common misunderstanding. There's no current bill in Congress that guarantees $2,000 monthly checks will happen tomorrow. This isn't about raising false hopes. This is about where serious economic minds, professors, analysts, former Fed officials, are trying to steer policy next time there's a downturn. The past taught them that untargeted checks can cause inflation and waste money. Now the proposal is to make aid smarter, more precise, and more effective. That starts by understanding exactly how every income group uses their dollars. And here's the chain reaction. When low-income people spend money, they do it locally. That boosts demand in their neighborhoods, grocery stores, gas stations, laundromats. Those businesses then hire more staff. That reduces unemployment. Those workers then spend their paychecks. It's a self-reinforcing loop. But it only works if you start with the people who spend every dollar because they have to. That's why MPC is such a powerful concept. It doesn't just help the poor, it strengthens the entire economy from the bottom up. If the economy falters again, whether from another pandemic, a financial crash, or rising unemployment, this targeted stimulus model is now on the table. It may not come as a headline bill immediately, but it's a growing consensus in economic circles. Some lawmakers are also showing interest, especially those aligned with progressive or populist platforms. That means if pressure builds and if voters demand smarter aid, this proposal could turn from theory into real policy. But that hinges on awareness and action. Most Americans living in poverty aren't there because they're irresponsible. They're there because the system has never prioritized them. Wages have been flat for decades while the cost of living keeps rising. A single trip to the grocery store, a spike in rent, or an unexpected medical bill can push someone into crisis. And yet when relief finally comes, it too often gets spread thin or goes to those who don't actually need it. That's why this new targeted stimulus model matters. It flips the script. It says, let's help the people most at risk first. Let's rebuild the economy by starting with those who've been left behind the longest. Think about how different this approach is. It doesn't treat everyone the same. It treats people based on what they need and how effectively they'll use support. It's not just morally right. It's economically smart. Every dollar put into the hands of someone with no financial cushion becomes a dollar that fuels small businesses, local services, and job creation. It's an investment in stability that benefits the whole country, not just the person receiving it. And if this idea catches on, it could change the way we handle recessions, poverty, and economic inequality forever.